So you know when you just walk on a main street, right, and people are sitting at the front of a cafe having a coffee, and you just overhear like 10 seconds of their conversation max. That's probably generous. Maybe you overhear like 5 or so seconds, right?
Yeah.
So I'm walking, and there's these 2 middle-aged guys talking, having a conversation over a coffee. One of them slightly overweight bloke, the other one just a normal-looking guy. Anyway, the overweight guy, this is all I overhear him saying, right? He goes, yeah, back when I was a junior, I was a little kid, they used to put me in the ruck just because I was bigger than the others, you know? But I reckon if they put me off half back, somewhere where I could see the game, I would have been a lot better.
So bro's blaming his coaches. He could have been
like,
something.
I was the big kid, but if they actually put me where I had my skill, I had vision, I could read the game, I would have been so much better.
That's every guy talking about their football career. If I hadn't broken my thumb under 12s, bro, and I got that hand pass, mate, it could have changed for me. It could have changed.
If I didn't have social anxiety, oh man,
Yeah.
I would've been
If I wasn't absolutely shit at the game, I'd be really good.
And if I was tall and athletic,
natural
and fast
gifts
and natural gifts and practiced every day, if I did all that, if I had all that,
if I could ping goals in off 1 step from 50, mate, forget about it.
There's only one man apparently in the world who can do that, according to this guy. And that's Charlie Kerno.
That is.
But that was back in the day. Like that was a requirement to be a full forward. If you can't off 1 step kick a goal from 55, 60, like get out of here.
Different time. Men were made differently back then, man.
True.
They had their veggies back in the day, right? They didn't have information in the knees.
Spinach cans.
That's fair. You know, nowadays they're just having like, you know, little chicken tenders. They're having, they're having the dinosaur nuggets. Yeah. That's all they're eating these days, kids. You know what I mean?
All the aisles of chocolate. Yeah. You know what I mean?
No one's having broccoli anymore. It's out of fashion.
Yeah, where's broccoli gone?
I don't know, bro. I don't know. We got to bring broccoli back.
They made broccoli white. It's even worse.
Bro. Anyway, man, that was interesting one, Dino.
Thanks.
But let's be fair. That's all of us. It's like in the Premier League joke. You know, I had trials at West Ham. You know what I mean? That's the I had trials with Man United. I was a West Ham youth player.
Man, it cracked me up. Like I was actually laughing out loud when I knew they couldn't see my face. I was like, man, this is the funniest thing. I wish I could just walk back, pretend I forgot something, and just listen again.
Yeah, bring the equipment down and let them record the conversation.
Oh shit.
Yeah, there we go. Hey, this week was a good week of footy, man.
Oh, for some, not others.
For some, it was a great week.
No, there was a lot of kind of underdog stories this week, wasn't there?
The other underdog story was...
Some you would say underdog, some a logical tip, but anyway.
Yeah, 100%. But you know who were underdogs, mate? AFL enjoys our underdogs. We got to 200 subscribers,
hey, round of applause.
That's it. Well done. Look, if I remember, I'll put the crowd noise there. Probably won't though. But yeah, shout out to the dudes who subscribed. There was just guys that I met at a Bucks. But regardless of that,
respect those
it's
guys.
much appreciated.
Thank you everyone for coming along on the journey with us.
Yeah, that's it. We were trying to plan to do something for the 200 subscriber special, but we haven't come up with anything. So I don't know. Maybe next week we'll try something.
Maybe next week, or maybe just shoot for 1,000.
Shoot for 1,000. You know what?
We'll do something actually big for that.
Yeah, look, 100, maybe 500. 500 that middle part.
Look, there's a bit to go between 200 and 1,000.
Actually, you know what? We were saying a live commentary of a game. If you would want to watch that, let us know.
Yes.
And well, Carlton North is coming up. It's a good opportunity. Are you here? Are you in Melbourne?
No, we'll go in person.
Maybe. Oh, yeah, I think I am.
We've got to go to that.
Go in person.
We've got to go.
Sure.
Yeah, true. So maybe that might be it. That might be the go. We'll keep you guys posted. But yeah, thank you very much for helping us get to 200, man. It feels good.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think we'll jump into the first game, I reckon.
Yeah, we're trying to delay it a little bit, but yeah, sure, okay.
Yeah.
Got to give some flowers.
We got to give some flowers. Oh, we do too. Oh, you're right.
The first game is
That's just wanting to skip it entirely.
Yeah, so North versus Gold Coast. Look, here's the thing, right? So they come up against Collingwood. They just lost to Gold Coast. You know what I mean? So it's like
no credit.
No. So are we really gonna? No.
On behalf of
Collingwood's not even in the 8, bro.
On behalf of our good friend and loyal listeners over here,
yeah,
I'm just gonna slap you right now and just say, Matter, flowers time. Come on.
Flowers time. We got to do it. Look, the first person I'm gonna give flowers to, right, is a dude who I'm not sure if it was his best game, but whenever I do see this dude out there, I'm like, this is one of the highest IQ players in the game. That's Langford, man. That's one of Dino's.
He loves a medium forward.
Apparently,
he loves a medium forward.
Apparently, so Georgie in the chat, he's like to me, "Hey, Matter, you love a medium forward," and I'm thinking to myself, who which medium forwards have I said, like the third tall? Which third talls have I been like, oh, I love that guy?
Well, you know what I've noticed about, like, sometimes, James, you can't notice this about yourself, right?
Yeah, of course.
You need your friends to notice things about you, right?
Is this an intervention? Like, bro,
No, there's nothing wrong. You can like Langford if you like, bro. It's fine. You don't have to like Dacos and Creeps. You can like Langford. It's fine. What I'm saying is, so Matza, typically, in my opinion, you typically like the more stockier, like tall type players when you
stockier, tall guys. Look,
when I think of players I like, it's always midfielders, right?
Okay.
I don't give the flowers to the Langfords. You know what I mean? You like the Shannon Hearn types. You know what I mean?
He's not a third tall though.
No, but he's a bald head defender. He's not sexy. You know what I mean? He's not sexy. You're creating sexiness for players that need to be created sexiness.
That's why we're giving flowers. Man.
Yeah.
We're giving flowers to people who deserve their flowers that don't get talked about a lot.
It's funny.
Like
You're
Will Day, every week he's getting his flowers.
But Will Day's sexy though. That's the problem.
That's true. That is true. He doesn't need the flowers.
It's funny because this came up when I was with Matza. The whole what it kind of, we were just saying, like, why did George say that he froths medium forwards? And I was genuinely trying to think of any other medium forward that he's praised.
Like, you know what I'm
since
thinking?
I've known him, and he's never credited anyone.
Nah, is it Waterman? Is it
Waterman's
Jake the
one.
Snake? But the thing is, he's as much of a third tall as Charlie Curnow is. Just because they're shorter, that doesn't mean that
Charlie Curno's not a third tall. Bro.
No, but what I'm getting at, just because he's shorter, that doesn't mean he's a third tall. He's not a third tall. Man.
You just give me the idea.
Yeah,
I just got to throw more comments like that sporadically, just to make you go, shit, what's going on there?
Yeah, no, good. But that's
the fact that they had you in a spin and you think about it all week makes me very happy.
No, look, it occurred to me, and I was in the car with my dad when he was driving. So I'm like, what's going on here, bro?
Wait, was Terry like confused as well?
Yeah, I asked him. I just mentioned him. I was like, I think I was in the car with him. I don't know who I was in the car with.
Yeah, we're together.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Yeah, we're in the car on the way to the game. But yeah. Anyway, look,
that's hilarious.
Let's go back to the flowers giving.
Look, Essendon, they beat Collingwood, man. That's a good win.
Mm-hmm.
Big stakes game. Collingwood started crazy. Chris 3 goals with 3 kicks. They start strong, and I feel like from quarter 2 to the end, Essendon was just a stronger team.
Especially at the end where you were waiting for Collingwood to have their rush.
Yeah, they
sort of just bullied them and didn't let them even get the ball, but they were prepared behind the ball as well and really playing aggressive defense.
Yeah.
And then it just got to the point where they were just streaming forward in numbers because they just counterattacked beautifully. So credit to the Bombers.
Yeah.
Solidifying that top 4 spot, which is huge. Collingwood outside the 8, which is even bigger.
Yeah, that is bigger.
So just a really all-around tough game. And their midfielders, like you were praising the other week, Caldwell. We've praised all year, what's his name? The other, Durham.
Yeah.
So guys like Setterfield, Parrish, you'd think, in a fully fit Bombers team, these are the guys. They're not getting in the team right
interesting
now.
you said that because Dylan Shill actually came back and had a really big game.
That was interesting. He had more of a run with role. Am I imagining that? I feel like he was sort of a bit more defense first.
Well, I think he topped them for tackles.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken.
I would say he plays more of a defensive role, with kind of Merritt kind of being part more of their attacking chain.
In saying that though, Zach Merritt does not slouch when it comes to defensive duties, man.
No, he doesn't.
He had 10 contested disposals that game, right? But honestly, it felt like he did so much more on the inside than what that gives him credit for, man.
Yeah.
Seriously, that dude is heart and soul type player, undersized. They say pound for pound, one of the greatest, footballers. Arguably, he's there, man, because he's a smaller guy, but he goes in hard and he uses it so well going forward. He's inspiring. He might be the most inspiring captain, out there at the moment.
Look, he that last quarter, he was massive, and there was this time where he chased and then tackled and chased again, and the camera just panned to his face, and he's just panting on the ground, and you're just like, man, this guy's giving everything for this win, and they got the result.
That's it. One of the boys that Dino mentioned, and I want to just quickly say, Caldwell. You traded him in the Supercoach, but I've all right.
Yeah.
He is such a gun, man. He's a tackling machine, just aggressive tackler, and he's agile. He's not just this slow inside type guy. He's very dynamic. So there's another one of the GWS, midfielders that gets let go, and he's a gun.
It took a bit of time as well. Like I feel like last year he was like a non-factor, Caldwell.
Yeah, no, he was. Well, look, he never really was given the role to be a mid and extended mid-time. He's probably always been the, plays a bit half forward and then maybe gets like 20 or 30% middle time. Whereas recently it's gone upwards to like 80%, centre bounce attendances, and he deserves it, man.
He
like
does.
he should be the number one CBA's guy, beyond like more than Parrish, more than whoever else. You know what I mean? Setterfield.
Yeah.
They should be finding roles around him.
I agree.
The way it's going right now.
Yeah, 100%.
Uh,
Nate Caddy was good.
Yeah,
it was probably his breakout game.
Bruh, the Richo,
Oh, he was riding
he
him.
could not shut up about Caddy, man. Like, I reckon it happened about 3, 4, maybe even 5 times where he's like, oh, look, I know I'm talking him up a lot, but he's just so good. He's just, I really like what I see from him. It's like, bro, we get it.
Richo, he plays the role of like, I love encouraging young forwards. He just froths over them all game.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
He loves
He'll do it. He'll do it about Cadman. He'll do it about probably Grzewski as well.
Max
What I mean? Yeah, that's fair. But look, he does deserve the plaudits, man. Like,
He looked kind of like a young Jack Rewald out there, if I don't say so myself.
yeah, I've heard that somewhere before. I don't know who said that in a
Who
TikTok.
said it?
Maybe.
Was it me?
Yeah, you did, bro.
Oh
Bro,
shit, it was me.
You did. You don't
the-
remember. You don't remember
But he
from
actually
week to
looked at
week.
it at AFL level, I guess. I can't even remember my own takes. There you go.
Matter is an encyclopedia in our TikTok.
He
He
remembers
knows
it all,
everything.
yeah.
Look, when
Word
you're
for
sitting
word.
there for 4 or 5 hours editing it,
Yeah.
and you listen to it like, I reckon I listen to it about 20 times as I'm doing it, right?
Yeah.
You get to know what gets said. In saying that, like, the last one we just did, less than 1,000 views. I'm pissed, bro, on TikTok. Usually, less than 1,000 on TikTok is a dead TikTok.
Yeah.
So I'm a bit shattered about that. But look, the Carlton one, shout out to the Carlton guys, man. You guys killed it on that one for the support. Anyway, I digress.
Collingwood, Flowers,
Oh.
Hoskin Elliott.
Okay.
Oh.
You want to know why?
Yeah.
He's the only player I've seen in a long time take the kick-ins and not play on. This guy is not getting a snap for his kick-ins. He's the only person.
He loves
I
the
saw him do it like 3 or 4 times in that game. He took the kick-ins and he kicked it from the square.
He's not stat chasing, is he?
No.
He
Look,
loves the medium forward, this guy. Spend that, mate.
Look, I'm searching this up because I need to get the stats for this one. You guys keep talking.
Well-
One thing I found interesting about Collingwood, who were the 2 highest ranking players for Collingwood in that match?
Bakes.
No.
Oh,
I'm making a point here. If that gives you a
Pendles.
clue. Yes.
Oh, I know it's Pendles and Sidebottom.
Yeah, that's
Sidebottom.
right. The 2
Yeah.
oldest ancient players were the highest rated. That's worrying, bro.
That is. They were drafted when I was in primary school.
Yeah.
Like, we're talking. This is years.
I'm pretty
maybe
sure-
even when Dino was in kindergarten.
I think your
You know who they
Babu
drafted?
had
What's
coffee
that?
with them.
What year were they drafted?
I don't remember, but it was like 2006, 7, 8.
Yeah, I was in primary school.
Yeah. So you know what I
Or
mean?
maybe late primary, yeah.
I was
Yeah.
in primary school.
Yeah.
06, I was in year 6.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, I just followed it
6
along.
years.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't get that. I didn't get it that easy. You know what I mean?
You got
I
to do
had
some maths.
I do have to do some math. Like I started in 2003. It's a bit tough.
That
but,
is a crazy long time.
yeah. But yeah, they've been around for a long ass time, man.
Well, look, they're still, you could say, in their window, right? So it makes sense that their experienced players are contributing. But when they go, obviously they got Dacos. The guy will still be around. They're going to need to beef up a little bit more. They'll probably just recruit like a Bailey Smith and just, top up their list. I don't think they're going to have to go to the draft anytime soon, but very interesting point though.
Yeah.
Especially Sidebottom. Like every time you think he's cooked, he just comes back.
Yeah, he does have kind of ebbs and flows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
he only played on twice out of the 6 kick-ins.
See?
That is a astute
crazy.
observation. Like,
Thank
if
you very
If you
much.
wonder whether we watch the games,
Thank you very much.
Out this guy over here, man.
But Pies are out of the 8 though. And on top of
you
them, so
find that?
equal points, Giants.
This is DFSA, man.
And that they.
Kick-in breakdown. Look how good this is, bro.
How do you know that he only played on twice?
6-2. See that? Because it's
Play on
play it's
percentage,
kick in
yeah.
and then play on.
Oh.
Bro, I do my research. That's why I'm good at Supercoach, bro. To an extent, good at
I
Supercoach.
think I'm beating you this year.
Hey, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, we're gonna. You killed it. 2-5's crazy, bro.
Yeah.
Bravo, man.
With a Bond
Flowers.
captain as well.
Flowers, bro. Flowers. But look.
But yeah,
Yeah.
Collingwood outside the 8, equal points with Giants in 8th, 2 points behind Brisbane, and then there's Port, Geelong, Essendon, and so on.
I think Essendon winning this game, I think they'll finish. Will they finish top 4?
They're
Bro was ready to say it.
Yeah.
But then he's like, oh, wait.
Everything's so close. But like, honestly, that's a big win, man. That's a really
Yeah.
big win. That's the first kind of big scalp I think they've taken really since GWS, right? And if they can win games like that, there's no reason they can't win a lot of those other games. They've got points on the board. They could actually finish top 4.
Yeah, I don't think it's crazy to say anymore. Like now, I actually have belief that this Essendon team can win on their day. You know what I mean? It's not just like, oh, they're beating up on the bad teams. You know, they've had a good run. They're capable of beating any side on. I'm gonna say it, any side, because even like the top sides are looking a bit shaky at the moment.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, look, yes, that we're waiting for them to take that scalp, and they've finally done it. They did get smashed by Geelong last week, so I'm not going too crazy, but there's some respect there now.
yeah.
Yep.
Well, look, next week it gets interesting because then they have Melbourne, they have Adelaide after that, they have the Saints, they have the Dockers, they have the Suns, they have Sydney, and then Brisbane. It's not the hardest draw, but if you win about 4 or 5 of those, man, and I think they can.
Yeah, I think they can.
They are top 4. That's good on them, man. Good on them. And look, I think you can see it in the way that they play, that they started chipping it around a little bit more down the back, which usually we don't like. That's very Freo-like. But they have the options to do that. They have the right players to have that type of game style where they can just possess the ball, and that's what they did. You know, they just possessed the ball, and then they were able to push it forward, and catch Collingwood off guard. When you got Ridley, when you got Redmond, when you have what's the other guy, McGrath, all excellent kicks, right? Nick Martin as well, who floats back there a lot. You know, they can play that game style, and when they need to play a bit faster, they probably can as well because they've got a really agile midfield. So
the interesting thing to note about the Essendon players, they've all in their interviews spoken about how they ended last year, and how they've learned, and they talk about it, and they're going to fix it.
I think you can tell they really care.
I think you can. No, they care for sure, but the results are what matters now. From here to the end of the season, if they're serious about winning a final, they need to enter the finals kind of like how Carlton did. Maybe not quite with so much momentum, but in good form, in good health. Because if they drop off and sort of have a bit of an indifferent last 6-7 rounds, then they're going into the finals. Even with the 4th spot against Sydney, you'll probably lose. And then you're hanging on a thread.
yeah.
Like, I actually am curious to see how well they can finish the season. Like, excellent jobs to get to this point now. But last year was a bad end to the season. They got embarrassed by the Giants, embarrassed in a couple other games. Like, can't happen again. It can't.
It was bad, man.
Yeah.
It was bad.
So let's see how they go.
Yeah, look, that's true. Look, if they do end the season badly, we saw what happened with Melbourne and with Port last year, especially Port. They ended the season poorly and then they just went out in straight sets.
Correct.
In saying that, I don't think if Essendon do make the top 4, they won't have a bad end to the season. They need to win games.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
So I don't think that probably won't happen if they make the top 4, but still. Yeah. Anyway.
It's enough about Essendon.
Yeah, that took a lot out of us actually. That was really
I'm
hard.
exhausted, bro.
Yeah, I know.
Let's just call it.
We're gonna have to call it now. Thanks for listening.
Play the music, man.
If I did music, no, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that bit 2 weeks in a row. That was pretty funny.
It was
but
funny.
I enjoyed that.
But no, let's talk North, Matter. So,
Yeah, let's do it, man. So
just want to put out there, just for a moment, me and Matter were at the game with Matter's dad, my father-in-law. That was our first home win since round 1 last year.
Wow.
Right? Eagles, which was a close game. And then if you remember last year, we beat Freo the next week, and then we didn't win until the end of the season. Literally. So we haven't been at Marvel to watch a win since then, over a year ago, right? So the emotion,
that was crazy.
there was only 17,000 something people in that stadium. I couldn't hear the siren, and I couldn't hear it on the replay on the TV. That's how loud it was.
Yeah.
It was basically a grand final atmosphere with 17,000 people.
Yeah, I was gonna
Right?
say 17,000 people, and it was pumping.
Yeah. It
The
was
place
insane.
was pumping.
It was insane. But no, what a game. Go ahead. What were your thoughts and emotions, Matter?
Thoughts and emotions. Look, I think emotions are the right word. Like my old man nearly fainted. He he actually legit when the final siren went and he screamed, he had to go sit down. He legit, like Dino and I were standing around jumping and hugging. My dad was sitting down. I'm like, is that right? But nah, so that was pretty cool. A nice moment to share together. But yeah, I think you can't help but feel positive and encouraged by this team, and especially because of the fact that a lot of the performances are coming from the young dudes, right? And a few weeks ago we're like, oh, the young dudes are going well, and the old guys can't hold up their end of the bargain. But now the old guys are holding up their end of the bargain. All of a sudden, Luke McDonald, didn't have his best game, but like that was a good McDonald game.
But in the moments where there was like a ball to win, he was taking bodies.
Exactly.
Same as Aiden Core, like body on the line stuff, which
Darcy Tucker as well.
Tucker, yeah. And
He was good.
And
He's-
we
he's
know that
good
these
now.
guys probably aren't in our next premiership team because they're just getting on in age. But the example they're finally setting is really good to see. I've got a few stats for you guys here, right? So since the bye, basically, tackles, North is first in the comp. All right. Contested possessions, we're second in the comp. Our points for has gone up from 65 to 81, and our points against has gone down from 118 to 82. So we've decreased our points against by 34 points per game, right? Which is basically saying our points for and against is 81 and 82. We're basically in every game on average, which we have been, which is just awesome to see. Like now, you know, last week I wasn't expecting to beat the Dogs, but we were gutted and we lost by 17 points. You know, the weeks before that we lost by under a goal. We've only lost by a combined 20 points in 3 games or whatever it is. So we're competing. It's exciting. Man, there was so many moments in that game. Like the North fans were genuinely standing ovationing. Like Colby's run down the wing. We love Harley Reid, right? There's more than one pick in the draft, and we got the second best player. Right? And he'll have a great career. We can already see it. LDU's run at the end, man. Like
I know.
I need to explain to you, George. Right? So before we started recording, I said to George, "Have you seen the run?" Because there's something I want to explain, and it makes more sense if you've seen it, right? So where we were sitting on that wing was right behind LDU. So we could just see this as close as probably you can get. And he breaks the tackle, and then he's sprinting. He's doing like Chris Judd, just like taking guys on. And he kicks it, and we can see it line up, and it just breezes left, right? And me and Matza were literally like hugging, like looking.
Like some slow motion movie.
Like slow motion. And then when he missed it, we're just like, oh.
Yeah. you know the what's it called? The meme. Damn. That was literally us, right? That was us. Ice Cube and Chris Tucker. Is it Chris Tucker? Yeah.
But how exciting, man! Like even at the end there, Sheasel intercepts that hand pass. We should have scored from it. Like there were so many opportunities to kill the game off, which is the only disappointing thing. Like we shouldn't have even been in that nail biting ending. But defense held up. Midfield was tough when it needed to be. The attack looked functional enough to kick a winning score. Like,
and the other cool thing is we have drama in this team, and in the best possible way. Like the Colby 4 bounce run, the torp from Powell.
Tom Powell.
How did he think to do that, bro? Like that was
standing ovation moment. Like my god.
Oh yeah, like jeez. You know, he went and I'm trying to think. That looked like 65, 70. At least.
That was a huge kick.
It was ridiculous, man. That was ridiculous. And man, I swear for a moment, it looked like Liam Shields like bottled the kick.
He almost
did. It didn't come off the boot well. But man, the relief when that went through after that.
I was already jumping before he kicked it, so if he missed, it would look like a massive idiot.
Oh, bro, we needed you to kick that, Shieldsy.
But then there was even the Sheasel moment on our wing. He just gets the ball with a split second, and Matza said he's got the fastest hands in the comp. He did a backwards handball, no look. Like the guy's just so skillful, man.
I think he's backing me up basically because he is like faster than Butters, faster than Walshy.
He hasn't missed a set shot all year. Kicks it, spanks one in from 50 meters when we needed it in that last quarter.
Gorgeous.
My goodness, man. Like, just making sure I don't forget anything based on what I wrote. But one thing after the game, you know how they interview a player, but it's not the Fox Footy interview. They're interviewing Jai Simkin, right? And you can hear it over the speakers. And he literally says, I thought young Jackson Archer was fucking amazing.
Bro, but he dropped 2 or 3 F-bombs, man. He just couldn't
when he's not on Fox Footy, he just lets him go.
Oh, yeah, I love it, man. I love it.
But no, elephant in the room, though, right? So, George, he knows what's coming, right? I sent George a little voice memo after the game. Just told him there's a bit more to come. Like, I'm going to keep it tasteful, but I'm not going to lie.
I'm going to keep it tasteful. Man's won one game since last. Did you say round 1 last year?
No, you don't get to do this, right? I read out those stats. We're a decent team now, right?
Oh my gosh.
I'm going to keep this tasteful, but I'm not going to lie. Like, I was irrationally annoyed that you just swiped off North as not even a chance against Gold Coast when these guys haven't won an away game all year.
Well, I'm not sure I said not a chance.
You said surely. I'm tipping Gold Coast. Surely. Right? So pure, like if you're at the blackjack table, right, and then you're going, oh, it's been black 10 times. That doesn't mean the next game is red. It just means it's 50-50 again, man. That's not how probability
works.
How
statistics works.
That's not how statistics works, man.
No, but I understood. But I understood
you know what I mean? You know the logic, right?
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying.
Especially when red is Gold Coast.
Let me rebut this, right?
All right, here we go.
First of all, I'm happy you guys won.
Thank you.
But put it this way. Who had more to lose?
Gold Coast.
Look, you would say, that's fair.
Gold Coast.
Did you not think that, first of all, who was the favourite?
It was Gold Coast.
So Golden has the most to lose. They're the favourite. They come into a team that they should win, right? They're fighting for finals.
Based on what though? That's my one.
Based on expectations.
Point. But the expectation of what? The last 5 years or the last 5 rounds? Because the last 5 rounds we've been very good.
That's the thing.
But didn't Didn't Gold Coast just beat Collingwood?
Yeah, in Gold Coast. They can't
Yeah.
play away though, bro.
I know they can't.
They can't play
right?
away.
I know they can't, but let's not pretend like you guys smashed them. I mean, at the end of the day,
We should have though. We should have.
Yeah,
Took
we
Miller
should.
got injured. Sam Day got
Oh, come on.
injured. Ainsworth had a shot in the last minute to win it. It's not a crazy victory.
No, look, I'm not saying that, but all I wanted and what I demand moving forward
Yeah.
is a consideration that North can win games because we can win games now. And
Mm-hmm.
not to just say, oh, surely that team needs a win. They're playing North. They're going to win.
That's
Because I don't
fair.
care if they needed a win. They can't win away from home, bro. They can't.
No.
Even
Well,
Dimo
they
says
can't.
they've got to
They
grow
can't.
the F up.
They can't win.
They
They've
can't, man.
proven they
That's
can't.
it. So moving forward, unless we're playing like a top 4 team, a top 8 team, game's on.
Look, we'll never say game's on. I'm allowed to tip Gold Coast.
No, you're allowed to tip them. But just say, ooh, North's in good form. Gold Coast can't get away. Give me something.
Mans needs a
Give
rebuttal.
me something.
Mans
Man.
needs a
You
rebuttal.
can't just be like North is North. Gold Coast needs a win. Yeah, sure. No, that's not good enough, mate. I'm
That-
holding
that
you
is-
accountable.
that
I'm holding
is
you accountable.
definitely good enough.
No, it's not.
That's what we do at every other team.
But not my North
But
boys.
this is listen, you're 2 North supporters here, mate.
Boys, this is what happens when you're flanked by North, man. This is what happens when you're flanked by North.
You know
That's
what,
true.
man?
Look, I can't wait
I've
for
been
us.
through it enough,
I can't
right?
wait until when we win a premiership before you guys, mate.
Oh,
Look, man,
North
what I
closer
don't
to a
get,
flag.
what I don't get by you two,
Yeah.
right, is
you too.
I am the most considerate Carlton supporter in Victoria.
You kind of hate North though.
No, I
Nah,
don't.
low key. You try to bury us whenever you can, man.
I never do that. I never do that.
I'm sorry.
You guys
I'm
have
sorry.
you guys haven't won a game since last year. You said
Home game, bro.
Home game.
And I have never, even when we went to a game, I didn't say shit when I beat you. And now you guys on the pod are trying to bury me. How
No, you're
how
respectful.
dare you?
No, you're respectful, but your tipping habits need to change. That's all I'm
No,
saying.
they don't. They do not need to
Nah, the
change.
tipping habits, they've been a bit
Next
bad.
thing you're going to say is when Carlton versus North in a couple of weeks, you expect me to tip North or something like that.
No, I'm just expecting you to say, you know what, North's shown something. We've got to be careful because if we don't bring it, we might get Collingwood.
This is what I'll say. Carlton, I expect nothing but results from you guys. So no matter what the opposition is, North or not, you should spank them. That's what I want. That's what I'll say.
Oh, that's fair. That's
Okay.
fair in that
Alright.
regard.
All right.
Um,
That's all I asked for. All right.
Yeah.
I was saying I want to keep it tasteful. There was nothing personal in there.
This is the most ridiculous thing. This is the most ridiculous segment of this pod I've ever heard in my life.
Dino's rocket is back, man.
You know what? Just
Look,
test me next time.
This
We'll
is
see.
this is the
We'll
way I
see.
see it. This is the way I'll bring a full circle. You guys have been bad for so long that you deserve to be a bit chirpy after a victory.
Yes.
Oh,
No,
thank you.
absolutely.
Thank
Mickey,
you.
Absolutely.
We'll remain chirpy as well, man.
Yeah.
Don't you worry.
Remain chirpy. Remain
We'll
chirpy.
remain
I've already said when we get proper good, no one's going to want to talk North with me. Like,
No,
this
no,
pod
no.
will probably be
Look,
unlistenable.
Dean is a very good, honest man. But when it comes to the North, he brings out this crazy side to him.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people.
I'm a nutcase at the game. I've
Yeah.
realized, you know, when you're like, there's always that one guy in the bay. Like, I'm that guy these days.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's both
actually-
of us. I think
well,
both of us
look,
together. It's actually look, but at least we're kind of funny while we do it. At least, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We'll crack jokes and stuff.
Look, I can't
It's
be too
tasteful. I
harsh.
keep it tasteful.
Yeah, no, we don't like abuse players. We don't, nothing that'll get us, suspended from games. You know what I mean?
Well, you don't want that.
5 weeks
No,
suspension.
no,
You don't
no.
need any of that.
Just a
man.
bit
No
of umpire
bumps, no
stuff,
bumps.
bit of Gold Coast piss off, go home.
Yeah,
bit
you
of
know.
that. Wave them off.
Yeah.
The thing is I can't really talk too much because when I'm at the game and Carlton's on a ride, I'm giving it to
Yeah,
the.
oh, mate, it's the
I'm,
best.
I'm giving
You
it.
have to, bro.
I'm
You
giving
have
it.
to.
Yeah. I think we all learned something. I think
I think we did.
maybe.
Gold Coast, look, let's just talk about them for 5 seconds.
Yeah.
They didn't play badly. We were just better. But there is something in the fact they can't win away from home. I don't know what it is.
Mm.
But that game was there. If they played at their best, obviously they would have given us a better game. The scoreline flattered them a bit. I think we were the better team.
Yeah.
They capitalized on their momentum for most of the game. Every time they got it, they'd kick a few in a row. Whereas we were just the better team.
One little dude we got to give some flowers to is Ned Moyle is actually a proper ruckman now.
Mm.
He's a proper ruckman. I don't think there's Moyle's in now. Here's our opportunity to dominate the ruck. That's not the case, man. He's taking marks around the ground. He's way more physically imposing than I thought he was. Like, you see him in real life coming up against Cherry, and all of a sudden it's like, okay, Cherry actually has a bit of a battle here, which he won. But yeah, Moyle actually solid player. Interesting to see how that, where that leaves him going forward. Like, they drafted Ethan Reed as well, another ruckman.
True.
How long does Witts have to go?
And Mac Andrew was good too.
Yes.
He was really good.
He was
They
really
swung him
good.
forward as well. He's a handful.
Yeah. But yeah, man.
That's it.
Fun,
I'm done now.
fun times
done.
for North, man. Honestly, like, just and Wardlaw comes back next week. Heaney might be out.
Griffin
you know what
Logue
I mean?
might be
Griffin
back.
Logue might be back. Zachy Fisher. You know what I mean? Does Zachy Fisher even get back into the side? You know what I mean? Like, how does this work? We've got a glut of options all of a sudden. So yeah, going to be a very interesting selection table.
I wouldn't bring him in, man. with McKercher. I'd much prefer to play McKercher in that role.
It's interesting.
Yeah, look, I think both are good at the role, but McKercher, because he's quicker and can just break through lines, and he's daring as well.
Yeah.
Like he made 2 awful mistakes in the first quarter. That didn't stop him at all for the rest of the game. You know, a quarter later, he's running down the wing and doing 4 bounces.
Yeah.
Not many players have a good amount of arrogance, is what I'll say it is. Like, it's confidence, it's a bit of arrogance to just go and do what you know you can do.
I think
And he does it as a first-year player.
Can and should play together. Just one of them needs to be on the next line so that when he kicks it to the other one's running off.
Yeah.
Because it took Colby kick, run by, get the handball received. But if he's marking the ball himself, he can just go. It saves a bit of time, I think. So
That's
anyway,
fair.
we'll see.
That's fair. Yeah, it's going to be very interesting.
While this game was happening, there was a very boring other game happening.
Yeah, and George, you might have to tell us a bit about this one.
Yeah, a bit of a spanking.
Which one was it?
Yeah,
Fort Dogs.
Oh, yeah. Why is it every time you expect something from the Dogs, they fail you? And why is it every time Port fails you a little bit, they come out and respond? These guys are actually the same team. Port and the Dogs are the same team, but separate weeks.
That's a fair call.
That is. And the other thing is, there's a lot of similarities. It's like awesome midfields for both teams. The forward line, the forward line, I don't mind it so much for Western Bulldogs, but Ports is shit. I'm trying to think. Their coaches, we both dislike their coaches. I'm trying to think. What other similarities these guys have?
They're up and down form.
They've got blue in their jerseys.
Yeah.
And I'm starting to stretch it a bit there. But
look, the Butters and Rosie's first quarter.
I want to quote you. You said last week that they have 3 beautiful midfielders.
They did. They're beautiful.
You said the words beautiful,
Yeah.
and I was very taken aback by you calling them beautiful.
They are beautiful,
but they were beautiful.
They are beautiful.
They were, especially Rosie and Butters, mate. They didn't even let us have a full game of Butters' beauty.
Bro,
you know what I mean?
The man got subbed off on 160 Supercoach at 3/4 time, bro.
It's ridiculous, bro.
He deprived us of a 200 Supercoach game, the bastard.
I didn't even think of that. I did not think of that. That was going to be Butters' moment.
Yeah,
Anyway.
those two just absolutely towed them up. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to read into this game or exactly what went wrong, but
I think that went wrong. They just lost the midfield battle.
What I will say is Norton got injured, right? And Bond played pretty much the whole game up forward. And any time they kicked it to Bond, he marked it. But it's like the game's in the balance and you're losing. Shuffle some feathers and put Bond in the midfield. I hate how he just puts him forward. If Bond's in the midfield, he wins the clearance. That's just like 1 + 1 = 2.
But yeah, I agree with you. And especially when Port started, like we said, Ross and Butters, like how many touches did they have at quarter time? Over 15
Crazy.
each.
It's crazy.
So
Get
you're thinking
the man on in the guts to control the game.
That's crazy. I agree, man.
And you probably say something like, nah, we can't just rely on Bond. We get the other team. It's a team game. Shut up. Put your captain where he belongs and wrestle control of the game.
Well, the thing is as well, like part of me says, okay, Bevo, he actually, yes, he moves players around, but is it all in the name of building a versatile team? You could argue that, right?
Yeah.
But you're building up a midfield, say, of younger players for what? When Bond's finished and then your window's done?
Like, there wasn't younger players. It was a Trelaw, Libar,
Richards, who's young, but
Richards and one other midfielder.
Well, regardless, like so what's the point of not playing your best midfield when maybe by the time Richards, maybe he can take another couple steps up and then he's prime, but then Bond's not prime anymore.
Yeah.
So I think you just got to capitalize on what you've got in front of you.
You got to.
And yes, develop your team, but yeah, if the game's in the balance and you've got Brownlow worthy midfielder on your hands, like put him in the guts, man.
I thought it was a massive waste, man.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Georgiadis, 5 goals. Horn Francis, 3.
Yeah.
He's really hitting the scoreboard this year.
Yeah, he
Credit
is.
to him.
I think Georgiadis is their most damaging forward. They've got a couple of options like Todd Marshall. Dixon's kind of out of form. There's one other guy that escapes my mind, but I think Georgiadis is the one for me.
They had actually Lord and Finlayson played.
Lord. Georgiadis is more likely, in my opinion. Finlayson is talented, but
He'll finish up in the next year or two.
yeah,
I'd say.
Yeah, probably. Look, I think Ollie Lord, if he can get his form back, and him and Georgiadis are, looking good, that'd be very promising because Ollie Lord, I don't know if you guys remember last season, the way he ended the season. He was excellent, man.
He was
so,
good.
yeah, look, a couple of promising keys. They need those guys to come along.
yeah.
They really need that because otherwise it's like, you got retirement age type dudes.
What I like about Georgiadis is I feel like he's a pretty accurate set shot.
Yeah, he's decent.
Yeah.
Even Marshall, Georgiadis, like both of them are decent set shots.
Well, Marshall historically has been, but this year he's been woeful. He's really out of form.
Yeah, that's weird, isn't it? I still think of him as a good set shot. I think he'll break out of it. I don't know what it is though.
Who's this? Sorry,
Marshall, Todd Marshall.
Yeah, that is a weird one because I feel like he's the sort of dude who needs to be a good set shot because otherwise he's not the most physically imposing dude.
No.
If you're gonna have him out there, it's not to crash packs. You need him to make the most of his opportunities. So look, yeah, he probably will.
Matter loves the third tall.
That's why I love Georgiadis, mate. Maybe that's why I like Ollie Lord, man. I'm a big Ollie Lord guy, man.
You love the promising forward. That's not. You don't like giving praise to like Charlie Curnow. As much
That's
as
what
you
I'm
do
saying,
like
bro. There is
Lord.
something to this. There is something to this.
He likes. He's an observant guy. He wants to call it before he becomes the Charlie Curnow.
You're probably right. Nah, look, there are so the guys who I do like. I'm trying to think. Maybe Chol. That one I don't really expect that much of him. I just like his vibe, right?
Yeah.
He's got mad vibes as a player. Langford. Maybe people don't recognize it, but he's elite. You know what I mean? He's an elite, just about an elite footballer, right? Will Day, I probably got onto him a little bit earlier than most, right? Sicily, not really. I'm trying to think who are my dudes?
See, none of these guys are real. Like Will Day is a midfielder, but none of these guys are kind of mids.
Are they underdogs? Like, what are we thinking? Because
even Will Days, you can argue he's a medium defender.
That's the thing. See, that's the thing that I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think like. Because he wasn't expected to be this good. You know what I mean?
He was a high draft pick, man. I think he was pick 11 or 12.
But he was drafted as a half back, man. He was never meant to be a midfielder. And then they put him in there, and I'm watching this, and I'm like, look at this guy, man.
Half back, midfield, the same thing, man.
Yeah,
we're learning this.
Actually, we're talking Will Day now, so we might as well talk about the Hawks game.
Yeah. Look, that I was listening to on the radio. It's because I was driving down to George's Way, Whittlesea, and. Nah, look, so I don't have too much.
Bro, where is Whittlesea, man?
Bro, I don't know, man.
Where is it?
Look, I was just driving in the fog, like legit. Like we're
anywhere
talking
outside of like Brunswick is my way. Apparently.
Yeah. So look, it was a friend of the pod, Chris's Bucks, and the Chris being the St Kilda supporter who was treated lovely this week. But yeah, anyway, so I'm driving there, and we're talking like the fog is that intense. If a car is like 30 meters away, you can only just see the lights, like they're those little LED lights that are on walls. You know what I mean? I could only just see them. And here's the thing: because you can't really see properly, I can't tell. I'm like, is this guy on the same? Is he on his lane or is he on my lane? So I'm just driving in my lane, hoping that he's not he's not a vlaka, and he's come the other side. I was scared, bro. I was scared,
scary.
so I had to lower the footy. That's why
you can see better.
Yeah, and that's why I don't have good insight. But look, that was a very interesting drive. I'll tell you that.
Look, that sounds terrible, Matt. I'm sorry you had to go through with that.
So I'm reliving this moment. Talking about Geelong.
Yeah, this guy's shaking. You guys can't tell, but he's shaking. He's trembling. The couch is moving. I'm not surprised by this result because the Hawks have been really good, but they've come up against a really mature body side, and I just felt like it was waiting to happen, something like that. Something like just getting exposed a little bit by just a team that's just a lot more tough and experienced. And I think that's what Sam Mitchell ended up saying in his press conference. Like, there's still a bit of a gap between them and the best side. So the Hawthorn run has been pretty special, but up against some of the top echelon teams, I think they get exposed a little bit. And I think this is just an example of that, which is not a negative on them. It's just kind of where they're at a bit.
I was half expecting them to have just that one quarter where because even last year, if you recall, they'd lose a lot of games, obviously, to the good teams. And there was still sort of that one quarter, at least, where they'd maybe kick
Even
six.
a half sometimes.
Even a half sometimes. I still sort of thought as the game went on, like maybe they'll just do something. But yeah, never really came. I guess Geelong, look, Hawkins is out, but their forward line has been killing it the last
It's funny
because
because they're such a, we think Geelong had such a good start to the season, but they've kind of been up and down. They lost some bad games. They're probably like 4th or 5th on the ladder. Where are they?
I think they are. They are 5th, only half a game out the 4th.
Still very much up there. I don't know. I just kind of don't respect him that much. But they're there.
You're not a Brad Close fan?
No, I'm not. I like the long sleeves, but that's about it.
Nah, fair enough.
Yeah, a bit of a Matthew Lappin to him,
Yeah,
some would say.
skinny Lappin.
Skinny Lappin.
I would definitely be a long sleeve footy player.
Yeah, that's your vibe, I reckon,
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, fair enough. It's because he skips arm day at the gym, so yes.
That and I'm perpetually cold.
I think I'd go for like the Horn Francis long socks or something. I don't know.
No, you can't be a
That
long
might be
sock.
Black boots, long socks, black boots.
Yeah, just
That's
an
fair.
old-fashioned football.
Yeah, like Georgie Wardlaw type of vibes. You know what I mean? I like that.
I'm not a fan of the long socks, mate. The Dangerfield with his socks up to his knees. If he wasn't such a damn good player,
Well, here's the thing, right? That why are the socks so long if it's socially unacceptable to pull them up? Why not just make them short? Why do
That's
they need to be
true.
long socks for? You don't wear shin guards like in soccer.
I guess it's
I'm
tradition.
calling.
I
I'm
guess.
Yeah,
calling
tradition.
for AFL next year. Just stop playing with us. Just give us short socks, and that's it.
Look, I want a bit more like basketball vibes where players have like the shooting sleeve randomly. You know what I mean?
Kicking the knee brace, maybe.
Yeah. Maybe like what's it called? The headband. You know what I mean? Like this, wristbands. Something. It's not. There's not much vibe. Like Jaden Hunt tried to wear that disgusting like headband.
You know what?
You remember that headband that
bandana.
Josh Hunt liked to wear? It looked like I don't know. It was a little bit like bikey vibes. You know what I mean? That's probably why they
It
said,
was.
"Look, bro, like." Are you a blood or a crip? But blue
Wouldn't
and
it-
red, you're both.
Wouldn't it be?
So it was a bit weird.
Next year, right? So Nick Larkey lines up for goal instead of
Yeah.
doing like the Matthew Lloyd grass, win check.
Yeah.
He just comes out, he pulls out like a knee sleeve, and that's like his routine. He just gets it out of his pocket, knee sleeve on, kicks straight every time.
And then takes it off for the next
Yeah.
play.
Yeah,
that's
just takes it off.
yeah, that's fair. Hey, that's
Bit of
fine.
a-
Add it to your 30 seconds. You
Bit
know
of
what
a
I mean?
rock people's elbow, get the elbow pad off. One of those ones.
I've just thought of
Okay.
something. You're talking about his routine. Do you see players take out their mouth guard these days
Yeah.
when they line up for goal?
Yeah.
Not as
Still
much as
do?
I remember seeing
I feel
when
like
I was
they still
younger.
do.
When they put it in the sock?
Sock or sometimes the shorts. Yeah.
I feel like that. I feel
Well,
like
I don't think I've seen that in years. Maybe
Me
I'll pay
neither.
attention.
Does
more.
any player do the Steph Curry just bite the mouth guard at the free throw line?
that's something I was just thinking of.
Does
Actually,
someone do that? That'd
Yeah.
be boss if they did.
Yeah. Look, I don't know, you're not a big basketball fan, but Steph Curry for some reason just chews it around and like it sort of sticks out.
Oh.
It's weird. I don't know why it
No.
does that. It's really odd. Look, I'm sure someone will eventually. Like one of these players, like
One of
young
these
players.
millennials.
Yeah, one of these millennials. Nick Watson will probably do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's
Yeah.
got that vibe.
He'll make it disappear.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Look, this week what wasn't his best game, but we almost got to say the previous week he was good. He kind of got back to like
Whiz, yeah.
half. What was it half blood,
Mudblood.
mudblood? He was a bit half blood or whatever it's called. You know what I mean? So he was.
Half blood
yeah.
prince, you reckon?
Yeah, this week back to regular muggle, but like he's getting there.
This guy's having an identity crisis big time.
yeah, big time.
Well, look, when the whole team's bad, I don't expect the Wizard to be the one shining.
No,
Let's be honest.
Nah,
Yeah.
that's fair. That's fair.
But no, credit to the Cats. They had Stewart finally had a controlling game. I feel like he hasn't had one of these games in weeks.
Yeah, like he's been a bit understated. Like I've sort of had a look at some of his performances. I'm just like.
Chris Scott did
he's-
that thing. Sorry to interrupt you. He did
Yeah.
that thing last week where he had Stewart on ball. It just does my head in, man.
Hmm.
Like I know that their midfield's a bit lightish, but you've got this all-time halfback, one of the best players in your club's history off halfback.
No, I
And
think
you-
he's trying to avoid the tag.
Just get over it.
But
Come
you
on,
could
man.
get tagged in the middle.
I know. No, I don't accept that.
I don't think it's. I don't think
That's
it's
Chris
avoiding
Scott
the.
for you.
I don't think it's avoiding
He's
the
got
tag.
it. He's
I think it's just he has an abundance of halfbacks. Like, and you got Mitch Duncan. You have what's his name? What's his name? The new kid now, Lawson Humphrey. You know what I mean? There's Humphreys.
Yeah,
There's
Lawson
him.
Humphrey.
Who's the other one? He's not really the one I'm thinking of. There's more that I'm Holmes.
Holmes, yeah.
You know-
But Holmes has been more midfield, hasn't he?
Yeah, but he rotates between the two spots. Yeah, I think that's probably what he's thinking. Like, I need to try to move people around and see what I've
But
got.
has anyone seen
Bose.
Stewart when Stewart plays on ball? Has anyone seen him get a clearance or do anything?
He has. I've seen a clearance.
I haven't. I don't know. I'm angry at it.
There's probably been at least one clearance since he's been
Yeah.
in the midfield.
I want facts. I don't want.
All right.
He's definitely gotten a clearance, man. I think I checked it.
I'll do
I
some
think,
research.
I think he got 3 clearances last week.
Oh,
All right.
not bad,
Fair
not bad.
enough.
3. So he's a bad midfielder then.
Yeah.
Anyway, so he's basically like a Tom Sparrow level midfielder.
Yeah.
Great. That's handy. But yeah, we have much more to talk about.
No,
this
let's
game?
move on, man.
Yeah, sweet. That we dragged that a bit. I don't know. I didn't enjoy talking about
I
that
think-
game.
No.
George is just
Oh.
wanting to delay the inevitable.
Am I
That's
next?
true,
You're
that's
next,
true.
bro.
You are next, man.
Oh.
This is all yours, buddy.
Interesting one, man. Interesting. Look, it was a bit of a frustrating watch, to be honest, because we started the first quarter with a bang, and we're 39 points up, I think, in the first quarter. No, 39 points, and then they kicked the goal. So something like 30, low 30s, it was the margin of quarter time. And I'm
Right.
thinking, man, look at this team. We're invincible. We're doing it again, but in the first quarter instead of the third or the fourth. And then second quarter, the Giants just absolutely towed us up. So our first quarter was their second quarter. And then it's even at half time. Third quarter come in, Giants just keep rolling. And this is where what Carlton's been good at is it's half time, reset at half time, come out with a bang and set this record
I
straight.
was just going to say, where was that
It
foot
wasn't-
down? It
didn't-
just never came.
Well, it didn't happen. And we did not touch the ball for 2 quarters, man. It was actually remarkable. We fumbled the ball and handballed to the opposition for 2 quarters straight. under immense pressure. Like Carlton's a skillful team. I have to say it was more about the Giants just being absolutely relentless. And I saw some stat that showed that they had over nearly 50 more sprint attempts, or no, not attempts, sprint what's it called? Sprint efforts than us. So they worked harder than us. They worked their little asses off. And I think it was something along the lines of, we started the first quarter with a bang, and then they're like, mate, our season's on the line. Get your shit together, boys. And they came out and just played like the premiership favourites they were at the start of the year. Let's not forget that after round 3, round 4, we're thinking these Giants are the best.
I did say last week it wouldn't surprise me if they turned around and went on a win streak.
Yeah.
And you guys were like, oh, it would actually surprise me. I'm like, oh, I don't know.
I didn't say. I'd said
one of you said. One of you kind of
definitely. George is like,
George.
It would surprise me.
No.
But look, you know what the thing is.
Don't put words in my...
Here's no. I know you did say that, but look, I get it.
Play the clip.
No, I will. No, look, I get it though, because like when you've been that bad, because they have been that bad, it is crazy to just turn it around. Look, but the thing is, this is a team that's capable of it.
Yeah.
We all know that.
Look, before the game, I was thinking, look, I expect us to win this, but going up to the Giants Stadium, like, it's not the easiest thing to do and win, right? It's such a shit stadium as well. It's always depressing. There's no crowd. There's no crowd. So whatever the case is, they played some seriously good football, and their speed was we could do nothing with their speed. Like even some of these younger players, Matt has talked about, like Darcy Jones. They had a first gamer who I forgot the name of. This guy has speed to burn.
Joe Fonte.
Yeah, Fonte. And remember, they did this without Kelly and without Taylor. Two their most important players, or top 3 most important players. So it was a really impressive performance. Man, that were tough.
Callum Ward, 30 disposals, 2 goals.
Ward, great game.
How does that happen?
Hogan, great game. The only thing I would say more on the Carlton side was I was happy that we didn't lay down and die, because it was one of those games you could kind of see the writing on the wall in the second quarter. Wiedering had a cork. He was out for most of the quarter. They scored 8 goals in a row. Anytime Wiedering leaves the field, we just score. They just score. Like this guy, if there's any illusions of who's the most important player in Carlton, it's him, right? McGovern, Nigel, Tom DeConning, Nigel. You could just see he was getting a bit tough. They had the momentum, home game. You just could see oh shit, we ain't going to win this, right? And I'm happy that they managed to fight it out. And it was one of those games where we almost stole it. And that is a hallmark of a good team, that we didn't steal it, but we got pretty close. Like, it was within 12 points. Okay. And there was an entry inside 50 where we should have kicked the goal, man. We just should have kicked the goal. It was 3-on-1 or something. We didn't make anything from it. So we got pretty close, even though they spanked us for 2.5 quarters. So I like the fact that they didn't die, because that's not what you want from a professional team. I just think they outworked us, and I think I felt a little bit better once Sydney lost, which we'll talk about soon. But it's more along the lines of Carlton's won 5 games in a row, really strong performances, and now they've lost one to a pretty good team that, if they play like that, are a very good team. It's not the worst thing in the world to lose to a team like that, to kind of reset your expectations a bit. I think it's healthy. If Carlton lose next week, it won't be healthy, but this loss in isolation is not the end of the world for Carlton. I actually think it's potentially a good thing, because the Giants and Sydney and Collingwood are those type of teams that, when they play like that, are really damaging and threaten Carlton's kind of contested, tough game style. So I like being exposed by those teams, because it gives us a look at, we've just been exposed, reset. When we got exposed by Sydney at the start of earlier in the year, that was a really big thing for us, and I felt like we started to play our better football after that. And I expect this is kind of the next transition of, we just got exposed again. Boys, get your shit together, reset, go again. So on isolation, for the context of our season, I don't think it's that bad to lose this game. The last thing I would say is Cripps is playing out of his mind. And even though we lost, I still think he was the best on.
He'll probably win the Brownlow.
He was insane.
Yeah, probably right.
Insane. So it kind of reminded me of the old times where he was the only one turning up. He was really special.
Nostalgia.
Yeah, nostalgia.
The good old days.
And losing as well. So that's what I say.
Yeah, it's not look, some interesting little stats I've just sort of looked at, right? So I think a hallmark of your midfield actually being really, really good, right, is the fact that Briggs doubled the Koenig sit-outs, and you guys still came up equal on the clearances.
Yeah.
Actually, you guys beat him by 3.
Yeah.
That is crazy to me.
Yeah.
But I think, where the game obviously was lost in this case was you guys lost the uncontested possessions by 80.
Yeah.
So they possessed the ball. It's interesting. There's a couple times where like teams have done that this week, and beat really good teams. Essendon did it against Collingwood, and now GWS against you guys.
The only thing that's missing from that is I think they kicked something like 70 points from stoppages. So their clearances were a lot more damaging than ours.
Yeah, actually, no, you're right. I did see that as well.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
There you go.
Tom Degoni had a good start to the game, running around Briggs, but Briggs found a way to stop him, and we had no answer in the midfield. None.
Pitternet fit, just not chosen at the moment? Or?
Yeah, so he's fit, and he was swapped out for DeConning. But DeConning's in amazing form.
Yeah, that's fair.
The other one that got dropped was Hewitt for Cottrell. I'll tell you what, man. Hewitt would have been needed in a game like that, man.
Yeah.
Just an extra strong body just to arrest the momentum a bit.
Yeah.
Interesting. That is a game where we could have used a Pitternet to hold Briggs
I think if Vossi had his time again, he would have
100%.
It's interesting, but you wouldn't have thought Briggs would have been that big a threat to this point, because I've had him in my Supercoach draft, and I know he's been bad.
Yeah.
Right?
He hasn't had the greatest year, but he's a tough opponent.
Yeah. And when they did well last year, like when they had really good form last year, he was one of their better players.
Yeah.
This game, they win a game against Carlton, and he was probably their best guy out there, apart from maybe Jesse Hogan, who, shout out to him, 6 contested marks.
Yeah.
That's insane, and 5 goals. That's the Jesse Hogan that we saw in the first, 3 to 4 rounds at the start of the season when we were really talking up GWS. Now he's, he has that big game, now all of a sudden GWS look a bit more like a threat again. So yeah. I guess they're pretty reliant on their big guys, which is, I guess it's most teams, I guess.
I think their pressure is what set them apart that game. So, and their speed. Man, they have some incredibly fast players. Like even Bedford, I didn't talk about Bedford. Bedford really, he went to Walsh, and Walsh had no answers. The other thing is Charlie Curnow, I was saying before the pod, got destroyed by Buckley. Destroyed. I think there was
their second best
defender.
Defender.
But
Crazy.
I think they were saying some rumor that Curnow hurt his ankle in the warm up. He wasn't chasing at all. He looked so out of it, Curnow. I was like, Curnow, do something. To the point where I was like, bro, this guy has to be injured. Or someone's bullying him or something. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
That's sometimes players try to play through things. For me, if you're not at your best, as good as you are, just make way.
He's had a very average season, Curnow, and he's still in the Coleman. It just sounds like
he just gets bags, mate.
Yeah, he does, man. He does.
Next game, we won't drag it on too much, but Freo belted Richmond, which I don't think anyone's surprised by. But what is surprising is Freo's now third.
Yeah.
And with a healthy enough percentage to justify their spot there. It's not just fixture friendliness or anything like that.
Yeah. Well, look, they've shown that they can beat teams when they need to beat them. They beat Sydney last week. They're a shout this year, man. They're a shout. I feel like throughout the ground they've got options, and strong options. Decent ball users. We made in the TikTok that did very poorly. We noticed that Brayshaw, he's top 10 in scoring involvements. We don't really see him as that huge a damaging guy, but all of a sudden it's him, Sarong, Hayden Young's left foot. Not even the rest of Hayden Young's body, just his left foot. It's just.
The interesting thing with Freo is we've always said they need a key forward, right? And then they draft Jai Amos, and we're all thinking, wait till this guy develops. But then just out of nowhere, Josh Treacy just comes along.
Yeah,
he's the guy.
He's up there in the Coleman count. He's not going to win it, but he's one of the best forwards in the league by goals. And I think his accuracy, I was reading, was leading the league, similar to how Larky's was last year. I think he's going at 73%.
Oh, wow. He's 35 goals, only 11 away from Curnow.
There you go. So the fact that he's come on now and he's been consistent all year, and then you've got Amos there as the second and so on, makes them real dangerous, which they weren't in the past. And they can capitalise on that midfield dominance. And quite frankly, their halfback bounce and dominance as well is a big part of their game.
Yeah. Treacy was a rookie.
When?
So it was his rookie elevation 2020.
Oh, sorry. Yeah,
so he was a rookie.
Yeah.
So that's, mate, to get a key forward off your rookie list is crazy, man. That's some great recruiting right there. And probably, it's probably a lot got to do with him more than them, because they brought him in as a ruck type guy. You know what I mean? Yeah, he would fill in as a ruck, sometimes as a forward. But, he's obviously worked on his game and worked on his body and made himself, able to compete, So, yeah, it's huge credit to him.
Yeah. But, otherwise, look, Richmond, they're sort of... bottom of the ladder now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
Are we going to predict they're going to be bottom? They're going to finish over at the bottom?
Yeah, I think it'll be Richmond, Eagles, North at this rate.
Yeah.
We're only 1 win behind the Eagles, and I
Mm.
think we'll touch them up when we play them in a couple.
It's crazy because
That's
like
fair.
for a worst, like Richmond being the bottom of the ladder, they're not a wooden spoon type team.
Look, you wouldn't have thought so at the start of the year. And even now, like, you look at the injury list, and that's your answer right
Yeah,
there. You know?
that's crazy. Like you'd still go into a game against Richmond at the MCG and still have to play pretty hard to beat them.
Yeah.
And they're the worst, and they're the lowest team in the comp. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Such an even competition, man.
No, it is, man. It is. Like, it's, man.
If you compare it to last year with West Coast losing by 100 points every week and they were last.
Yeah, and then us as well.
Yeah.
You know, it's all of a sudden, most of the teams have something to look forward to. I do think West Coast have reverted to being bad,
Yeah.
to be honest
I
with
think,
you.
yeah.
Like the way, it's almost like with us, because we had a good finish to the season, then we ended up, starting this season so poorly. I think they're in that phase almost, where they had a nice little competitive period back to, reality. And hopefully for them, they can get back into a competitive footy sooner than later.
Well,
but-
let's talk about that real quick because they're the next game. I don't have much else to say about Freo, right?
yeah,
But
move on.
did you guys see that text scandal that one of the Eagles players or a group of players were texting, apparently unnamed, about how they want Simpson gone, basically.
Oh.
And Simpson had to answer some questions about it. He basically said, look, I'm not going to be searching phones to find out who said it, but it's not ideal, da-da-da. For me, though, that's pretty crazy. It's one thing if it turns out it's like a guy that's not getting a game and he's just like, I'm deserving a chance, da-da-da. Different if it's like, I don't
Harley
know,
Reid.
dare I say Harley Reid, dare I
Yeah.
say some other young players who are the foundation of the club, like a Waterman or...
Did they say young players were involved in the texting, or was it
think
older
so.
dudes?
Don't think it was anything...
So nothing so specific.
I think people don't know who it is. It's not like they're hiding it. I think
Yeah.
there's just a screenshot and blurred out. But
See.
it's proven to be true, apparently.
One of those ones like, don't tell anyone that I sent you.
It's
this,
one of those
but-
ones that you get from that guy at work.
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah,
oh,
I
my mate's
love
cousin,
those.
brother's
My
friend.
mate's, yeah, so my mate's involved with the club, and don't tell anyone I said this, but apparently, that shit's so good, man.
But yeah,
I love
that's-
those.
I don't know. That's interesting to me because they had a mini resurgence start of the year, and you're thinking, okay, they're back-ish, as a developing team.
Yeah.
Look.
Actually, I did have one that I can tell you guys later, but like,
Alright.
yeah, just remind
Off
me,
it.
but off it, off it.
But yeah, now they're sort of down in the dumps again.
I think it's one of those ones where, there's a difference between the team at the start of the season and the end of the season. And they've just been beat up. And I think all of their momentum and their young players, they're tired. Their older players that have been really, really strong this year are probably a little bit battered up. And they just can't back it up anymore. And I think how many rounds left? 8 rounds or something like that. I think they're going to be pretty bad for the rest of the year, personally.
And what's his name? So McGovern, he broke a rib, so they'll probably be really tempted. Sorry,
Another player out of my team. Bro.
sorry, bro.
I've got Miller, Gorn, and McGovern in my draft team. This is crap.
That is pretty bad. But yeah, no. So I don't know. They'll probably be tentative on getting him back into the side. Let's be fair. Like apparently they left him in Melbourne an extra day or two just so he can recover and
Jeez.
So it's not looking good there. Yeah, I think you're right. Bruised, battered, run out of legs, and it makes sense because it's like you've got like 30+-year-olds, and then you got a bunch of 21-year-olds.
Yeah.
So
And Reid hasn't had a Reid game in a while to kind of inspire them.
yeah, true. Well, look, he's been solid. Like he's he's doing his thing.
Yeah.
But it's not like he's not having Colby McKercher type games.
No.
True.
No, he's not.
Hey, facts, man. Anyway.
Yeah, that's it. Someone had to say it, man. Someone had to say it. But look, interesting for Melbourne. So that we can't really take too much out of the victory for them, but they're still equal points with GWS, who are 8th.
Yeah.
So they're going to be in and around the area. They lose Gorn, so I don't know how they're going to replace him for 2 to 3 weeks.
Well, who's their backup ruck these days?
Exactly.
Is it
Bruce.
Bruce.
Is
No,
he-
he was
is
at
he back?
GWS. No,
No,
he was
he's
at
long
GWS.
gone.
Nah, bro. That
Didn't
was
they
that was
recruit-
done by
Wasn't
me.
it someone from Brisbane that they recruited?
Yeah, they did. They did.
One of the younger tools.
I can't remember his name, but no, he was like a forward /
Yeah,
ruck,
yeah.
and he's probably going to have to be.
Are they going to do that, or are they going to do like a Tom McDonald?
Maybe.
Yeah, but McDonald's been good down back.
He
I
has,
think you got to
yeah.
keep him down there.
Yeah.
Or wherever he goes. I feel like Tom McDonald, whether he goes forward or back, he's actually a very solid player.
He's a good swimmer.
Yeah, look, they're playing Van Rooyen there a little bit, but he should be forward because, as he showed in this game, he can get a bag when he's on.
He's a great young player. And you know what? Like, the thing about him, he was drafted late-ish, like, I think 20-something, 30-something. And it only took him 1 season in the VFL to become this player.
That's
and he
true.
looks the part, and he plays the part, which is crazy.
Yeah, that's interesting because like the whole the old what's the word, knowledge or whatever I was going to say is that big players, key position players take a while
Take
to,
longer, yeah. No,
yeah.
they
But
should.
him just straight into it, like
crazy.
yeah. So good on him, man. Maybe they got to test him, see what's going on. Has he gotten his body so ready? Or maybe you know what? In saying that, these days I think kids younger are getting into bodybuilding and gymming and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So you would think maybe he's a young kid who put his time in when he was 16, 17,
Must be.
18,
Must be.
and he already had the professionalism must
Yeah.
be there.
Oh, fair play to him.
So yeah.
Want to give some flowers out.
Mm.
Trent Rivers. All right, this
Yep.
guy here, he's doing an Ed Richards. Just decided he's a midfielder now.
Mm.
Dude had 29 touches, and I swear his last month of footy since Petrarca's been down has just been crazy in the midfield.
Mm.
Oh, look, modestly good.
There was one game where he dropped off, but the rest have been really good.
Yeah, well, he's getting over 24-ish disposals most games.
Mm.
But
Someone had to step up.
crucially on ball rather than
Yeah.
his halfback. So the disposals may be similar, but he's got some dash to him as well. Like he can break away from a pack.
Mm.
He's pretty good. You know who's not?
Who's that?
My
Oh,
boy,
no.
one of my boys.
Who'd have thought
Clary,
Rivers
man.
is a better midfielder than Oliver right now?
Dude, Oliver is a terrible midfielder. How many possessions did he get, bro? Like,
bro.
like a career low?
The thing is as well about it, right? Like his off season was shambolic.
So
right?
14 disposals, 3 tackles,
14
57% disposal efficiency.
Yeah, that's like 1/4 for him last year.
Yeah. And the thing is that
Yeah.
sort of concerns me is like his off season was horrible, and don't know the details of exactly what he's going through, right? But clearly he's not the same player physically, and he's not the same player maybe mentally as well. But I don't know why they're persisting with putting him in, like playing it. Like he's clearly not conditioned enough. He can't, mate. He could run all day in his career, right?
Yeah.
And
that's his thing.
That was the thing that was impressive because at one stage he was just inside, sort of,
Correct.
dogging it on the inside. But then eventually he got to the point where it's just like, this is the dude who's making leads to
Yes.
get the ball out of the defense, and that's what made him so damaging.
Correct. And his disposal's never been his thing of like this guy's a clean kick at whatever. So he can't get away with it like an older, slower veteran.
Yeah, like a
Like
Petrarca could get away with
Pendlebury
it.
or Petrarca or any of these guys, because you know that the skill never leaves. That's never been his thing. His thing is all engine and grunt and all that. And he just hasn't had it all year. And you just wonder like what actually happened, and B, like should they just give him a break? I don't know. Maybe just
Maybe.
another week off, not like a month or something. Just give him another week or two.
They will know what is wrong with him, and they'll be able to make some judgment. But us, we have no insight.
Surely like they track the GPS. Like even just watching the game, there's no way this guy's number. Like if you look at his career, it'd surely be like elite. And then this year something's not right.
Yeah.
And they can see that surely.
Yeah. Interesting. Like I think back to maybe a year or two ago, there was a quote. This is a quote from you, right? And this is a good quote, right? You called him, he's the perfect midfielder. I remember you saying that specifically, because that stood out to me because I respect your opinion. And I think it's a fair opinion because at that time, Oliver was the man. Yeah. So look, weird this fall from grace and, yeah. Hopefully I hope he gets back to his best,
I think he
man.
will.
I hope so too.
I think he will.
Like, yeah.
I think he will.
But it's long enough in the season's gone. Like,
Yeah, because you would have thought that by now the engine would be back.
Correct.
Because you're getting the best type of practice. That's match practice, match fitness.
exactly right.
Yeah. It's odd. But look, they get a win and they get another injury to a key player. Like it's like, it's not great. Not great.
Actually,
For
just
them
quick
at the
side note, did you hear Petrarca now had to have another surgery for appendicitis? Which is I haven't had it, but it's painful.
Yeah,
apparently.
bro. This dude, maybe he just thought, I've been through all this pain. Let's just continue it all now, and then I don't have to worry about it for a
Get
while.
rid of everything. Just
Yeah.
start again.
Did they at least put him under this time, or?
No idea.
You'd think so.
I don't know.
But then they could have said to him, because you've just been freshly vaccinated again for all this random stuff, we have to do this. Like them, you don't know.
Yeah, it's harsh.
You don't know, man. But shout out to him. Get well soon, bro.
He's had a hard run, man. He
He
had this
has.
interview on Fox Footy. I think Neil was in it, and they just when they have like the two players from different teams,
Yeah.
and all they did was ask Petrarca questions, and just Neil was just standing there the whole time. But like they were showing like footage of. He was talking about his experience, and they're showing footage of him and how he landed, and he's just like his whole body. It was like horrific because I didn't watch that game. I didn't watch that game live, so I didn't
Neither, yeah.
really process what was happening. Jeez, man, that's some
Yeah,
crazy shit.
Get well soon, man.
Yeah.
The next game, so you mentioned Chris before. He would have been a happy chappy on
He-
this weekend. He had
he
his bucks.
was, he was, man.
Sainers win.
And look, man, shout out to him, man. They deserved, through the pain that he's had this year, because it's been a painful year.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if any fans have copped it worse than Saints fans, considering the expectations to where they are right now.
I'd say
I
they're
think
the worst performing team.
I agree. But this week, and it's interesting timing as well, because not only was it his Bucks and whatever, but last week we put him on blast.
Yeah.
Like I don't know why, but there's something was in me. I had to go in, mate. I had to go in, and we all just, we fed off that.
It's the enjoyers.
When the enjoyers become haters, mate.
Shit on your team.
Shit on your team. They become good, and it happened. It happened, man. Like all of a sudden, and one of the dudes specifically that we gave shit about, 10 coaches votes.
Yeah.
10 coaches, Philippou, mate. 10 coaches votes.
He had a big game for Liverpool.
Yeah, what? And you know what? Look, I had a little look at his VFL stats, so I guess it does make sense because he had 20 disposals plus in the last month of VFL football, and there was plenty of tackles involved in that as well. So obviously he's in form. So, mate, there we go. Could that be the dude who can hold on for the rest of the season and be a good midfielder, to support the struggling Jack Steele? Like,
Look, he's a second-year footballer. I think it's hard to rely on him, but he was pretty tough. He still had some moments in the last quarter he'd like to have back again, but he was definitely added a grunt that they didn't have. My question to the Saints fans and the Saints team is, where was that all year, bro? You just beat Sydney. You just beat Sydney, right?
Well,
they're not, and Sydney's two losses in a row, by the way. But this was a game where they started strong, then Sydney had their run, and I watched a lot of this game, but there was moments where I thought Sydney was going to take a run, and I kind of took a step back. I just kept an eye on the score, and the score just never really went crazy. And then in the last quarter, you see the Saints coming back, and I kind of switched back on. And it was the most intense last 10 minutes of frantic St Kilda pressure. I haven't seen them play like that for such a long time. And so many players stood up. Like Wilkie was massive, but they just hunted and didn't give Sydney a chance. And then do you see the last moment, Logan McDonald?
I know,
Another
bro,
one. Learn from your mistakes, big
man,
fella.
the funny thing about that, right? He marks it 45 out directly in front, and I loved his body language after it because he just grabbed it, tucked it under the arm, pointed at the goals, said, "I'm redeeming myself."
Yeah.
And I thought he was going to kick it.
It was a half decent kick, but man, bad week to be Logan McDonald. Good week to be Will Phillips.
Yeah.
That's pick 3.
That is true.
Anyway,
that is very true.
Do you see the Rowan Marshall kind of was going to kick that goal and it kind of bounced out to the
Oh,
side?
bro, I was filthy.
Yeah.
That's one of the most unlike. That's like remember Robbie Gray for Port when was it Robbie Gray?
That sounds about right.
He kicked it. It was like center of the behind posts, and then it bounced the other
back
way.
the other way. Yeah,
Remember
I
that?
don't remember that. I think it was against Carlton. Something tells me.
Robert Gray always destroyed
Maybe.
us. I wouldn't be surprised.
He was so
Well,
good, man.
the thing
Mate,
of-
thank you for bringing him up, man. I forgot about Robbie Gray.
Robbie Gray.
He's
Classy.
third tall. I love him, man.
Robbie Gray actually he sacrificed. He's a bit like Toby Green, to be honest.
Yeah.
He kind of sacrificed his midfield career to be a forward.
Yeah, gun.
I was going to say, so last week when we did go in at St Kilda, remember when I was saying, what's happened to their forward line? Like everyone's shitting on it, and for good reason. But where's like Higgins? We said was doing well this year, but where's everyone else? Where was Dan Butler? Where's Membry? Where's Philippou? Like Owens? Like these guys all last year were great with their pressure and really like speedy getting out the back. And like I remember last year they were just getting goals in the goal square. Like Dan Butler just kicking half his goals from right in front, right? Because they were getting him behind. So interesting that King's out, and it gets to like this small ball sort of, mosquito fleet as they say in footy more often.
Less predictable.
The Richmond type
Yes.
mold, small forward line.
But no, I was sort of half watching this game, and there was that time in the third quarter where I've got it in front of me, right? So in 6 minutes, the Saints kicked 4 goals. Because up until that point, they weren't really a threat to win the game.
No.
And then, so Heaney then kicks 2 in a row, and you're like, all right, 3 goals, Swans are up. And then, that last quarter was just insane. From
Even
the Saints.
Papley missed out on the full. Like crazy,
that
man.
was crazy. That
Dougal Howard fell into the crowd.
Yeah. And it just looked like still Sydney was going to win, which is why, like, Logan again, man. Jeez. That's bad.
Yeah, well, I mentioned Dougal Howard. There was 5 seconds left, and Dougal Howard goes off with the blood rule. And there's 5 seconds left, and they're trying to set up their thing, and it's a stoppage inside 50 for Sydney. Chaotic, man. But yeah, good on the Saints. And Sydney, I wonder whether being on the top for so long, it makes you the hunted, and people study you, and maybe they peaked at the wrong time. I don't know.
I did raise this last week. I said, no, you said it. You were saying it's maybe the loss will do them good.
Yeah.
And you just sort of kind of said that for Carlton as
Yeah,
well. But
that's what
now
I'm
they've
saying.
lost 2.
That's what I'm saying. The
So
second
Carlton
loss,
are losing next week.
the second loss is the problem. Like that's
Yes.
why I said, if Carlton loses the Dogs next week, you start to go shit. If Carlton smashes the Dogs, you go, it was a loss that they
And
needed.
What if they lose 3 in a row? Then the wheels are off.
Against North, I'd love
True.
that, man. I'd absolutely love it.
Would you though? I don't know.
Nah, bro. The pod would be insufferable again.
Come on, man.
Um,
Everyone wants Sydney to fail.
Yeah,
No,
that's true.
flowers to the whole Saints. Flowers to Chris Michaels.
Mm. Yeah, no.
No better
legit.
way to sum up that game.
Yeah, no,
I
that's it. That's it. Look, I think, it was just a few role players, or due to a bit more understated, like Sharman had a lot of crazy pressure acts and just the marking and just the willingness to fly and get his couple goals. Henry as well had a huge game.
Yeah,
he
he
was
played well.
very instrumental to them moving forward.
Yeah.
Look, we kind of forgot about him, to be honest with you, because he was a high profile pickup and everyone was, we were excited for him. He had an injury at the start of the year and now he's sort of found his spot, in amongst their ball movement. So that's pretty handy.
Well, that's
that
what
they
you
got
kind
that
of
going.
expected because they showed some signs of excitement last year. And then they add Henry. You're like, oh yeah, that adds to what they're doing, and it just hasn't
Exactly.
happened. So,
Mm.
look, if they end the year strong, I think their fans can at least say, look, maybe it was just tactic change up, didn't click, King's out of form, and you can sort of look to next year with a bit of hope. But
Yeah, true.
you know.
Sinclair also missed a bit of time a bit earlier in the season.
Yeah.
He has found his feet
Yeah.
properly. He's one of the most informed players in the comp as well. So
Definitely.
give him that. Just give him those flowers as well for Jackie Sinclair.
Yeah.
Look, I think there's
What's
one
the
more
last-
game.
yeah,
The last
one
game. Another interesting game. Right at the end there. to
yeah,
end off the
Adelaide
round.
just wouldn't go away.
Yeah,
for
they
good.
wouldn't.
So credit to them for hanging in there. But man, their season's cooked now. Rankin's
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
Another loss. At the end of the day, it still was a loss. Rankin's gone.
Yeah.
It's
It
just
It would say
whatever.
Saints are most disappointing, but like these guys can't be far off.
Actually, you're right. Actually, that's fair. And let's be fair. The Rankin thing, it didn't look. When you look at it, it doesn't look that bad. It's just a bump. But like the fact that he concussed the dude, and because it was off the ball and it was
Yeah.
it
You have to
was
do
a
research.
thug move. It was
Yeah.
a thug move, to be fair.
Yeah, no reason for it. So I guess that's leans into the thugness of it. But
Yeah, the thuggery.
the thuggery. No, look, that's
not-
probably
I'm-
the one silver lining this year. How good he's been. Everything else
Yeah.
has been a bit of a disaster, to be honest.
I'm not going to add him to the thug list though, because I think he's a good dude. He'll be fine. There was a thug list that I had of sports stars that I thought were thugs. Not based on any off-field stuff because I'm not that type of guy. I don't judge people's off-field stuff, but on-field. I'm sure if I could probably find it on my phone.
You might
of
have
players.
to.
You know what? Of players that are added to the list. One second.
Can I do a very quick? And
Yeah.
I'm usually the last of us to do this, but a very quick Supercoach side story just for a second here.
Yeah.
So I'm playing our good friend of the pod, Nick Doods, right? And he's in pole position in this game. I've got left Zorko and Wilmot,
Yeah.
who weren't playing well. And I think I had one more guy. Anyway, a couple guys that just weren't doing well. And he had left Hinge, who was doing very well, and McLuggage, who was doing quite well as well. And he's in pole position. Like there's pretty much no chance for me to win. Last quarter starts, Mitch Hinge subbed off. I'm like, oh, okay.
Here we go.
But McLuggage was still doing too well. McLuggage goes forward, disappeared. I don't think he had a disposal in the last quarter. I win by 2 points.
That's crazy, man.
That is crazy.
R.I.P. Nick Doods this season.
Yeah.
It's probably done now. I'm sorry, man. I
He
actually
had
felt bad. I
he
was
had a
happy.
nice resurrection.
Oh, he did. And
Yeah.
I just want to say to him, like, if he's listening, which I'm sure he will be, like, I was happy in the moment, but then I was actually like depressed for the next hour. Like, I actually felt bad for you, bro.
Yeah, that was tough.
That's from the heart. Like,
That was-
honestly,
yeah,
yeah,
nah.
I felt bad. Anyway.
Shout out to dudes.
Shout
Anyway,
out.
I found this list, right? And honestly, this list is actually disgusting. It's crazy. So what's the date on this thing, right? 18th of August, 2019, right?
Okay.
So I'm gonna say a few dudes, right? So sport thugs. Kawhi Leonard is one of them. That makes sense. He left my favorite team,
Okay,
right?
yeah.
David Mundy. That's
Who was the first
Why
person?
is Monday
Look,
on
I'm
the
skipping the first person. Oh, there's a first name on the list. The first name I said was Kawhi Leonard. He plays for the San Antonio. He used to play for the
Oh, I
San
thought,
Antonio
I was
Spurs,
thinking,
right?
who's this kid?
So anyway, yeah.
Why is David Mundy on this list?
Look, I don't know, but like all these dudes, I take it all back. It was probably all Supercoach related, right?
Probably,
So
yeah.
David Mundy there, Angus Brayshaw there, right? That feels so wrong right
Yeah.
now. Jack Crisp, I don't mind that one being there. I don't mind Jack Crisp being
I
there.
think he's one of the better Collingwood players.
Mate, are you sure? I'll explain to you later. The Matt Crouch, and then in parentheses it says provisional.
Provisional thug.
I don't know what the go was
This
with
is
that.
definitely Supercoach burn list.
Yeah, 100%,
Definitely.
100%. Because I'll tell you the other two names I didn't mention. Right, one was Robbie Gray, who I
You
love.
just praised.
I love Robbie Gray. This is not a coincidence. This just came up, right? And then the name who's on top of the very list, I must have started this list because of him, Gary Ablett. Look, I'm not
Mate.
trusting any of my lists
That is the
anymore.
worst list I've ever heard.
Man,
Bro.
Matt's like he's got a short string for you. Man. He'll blacklist you if you.
Oh, bro, Gary Ablett, mate.
Goodness
You upset me once.
I'm
in
expecting
Supercoach.
like a Braden Maynard, like a I don't know type of vibe.
Nah, look. Now that I think about it, Rankin fits on that list. They're all guns, these guys. So you know, he goes. He fits nicely.
Maybe that's your thing. Just call guys thugs when they're just that good of ballers. You know.
Yeah, you know what, man? You're gonna be suspended in 4 weeks. You're in my Supercoach thug list. There we
Throw
go.
Heaney in there as well.
Throw
Like,
Heaney.
Just
Yeah,
made the
exactly.
list. He just made the
Gone.
list.
Yeah, you just made the list.
All right.
Yeah. But anyway, we'll move on to the
Back to the game.
Oh, the game. Actually, true. Yeah.
Lockie Neal, George was flagging a 200. You really wanted a 200 this week. You were wrong.
Well, I
wasn't it,
didn't
with
get my Butters 200, so
Yeah,
or my
true.
Rosie 200.
Lockie Neal was the last 200 player, wasn't he? Or was it? No, Hogan just missed. I think Lockie Neal was the last 200.
I think he pulled the 200.
But
Against
there's-
Collingwood, I remember
There's
that
been a
game. He went
couple of
crazy.
there's been a couple of 180s this year. A Gorn, Tom DeConnie, a couple, but
Mm.
yeah, it's hard to do. And champion data just don't give stats to players at the end of the game. Like I was watching Jordan Clark and Luke Ryan chip it to each other in the last quarter, and
Yeah, hoping to get the 200 for Luke Ryan.
no, well, in this instance they were miles off, but they just don't get any points. Like they're owed a mark and a kick. Thank you, champion data. Thank you, Hoyne from SEN or wherever you are. Give these guys these points.
Yeah, no, give him the points and stop telling us that random dudes are elite.
Yeah, stop telling me Jake Malcolm is like the best midfielder in the comp or something like that.
Petruccelli is not the best small forward in the league. Like, settle down.
Petruccelli's just killing at the moment. Like his 2 disposal game was as impactful as the 2 disposal game I've ever seen. When they used to say Gary Rowan is like the best 8 possession player in the game? Remember when they used to pull that shit?
Bruh, it was crazy.
kind of is, to be fair.
No, you know, fair. Nah. Look, if it's 5 goals, you know, and you know, one of them's the game-winning goal.
Gary
Game-winning goal.
Rowan's the type of guy that like does nothing all season and then kicks 2 crucial goals from 6 possessions
In
and,
a
like,
prelim.
In a prelim.
He's got the Jake Stringer. Oh shit, my contract's expiring.
Yeah.
Let me kick it back.
True.
But no, well done, Brisbane. Adelaide. Yeah, I don't know. I got nothing to say.
Whatever, Adelaide.
Yeah,
Just go
fair
away
enough.
now.
Just
We've
go
had
away.
enough.
Yeah,
of you.
go away now. Just
Yeah.
Dawson.
No
what are you
ranking,
doing?
no significance.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know,
look,
sorry, just one
Yeah.
guy that's disappointing, and I hope he recovers because he's an exciting player. Rochelle.
yeah.
What's he done this year, man? Him and Owens, like these kind of guys who are really exciting, just flat this year.
Yeah, it's a third year blue. Is it
Maybe.
third year?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Look, I guess you look better in a team when your team's playing well,
Yeah.
and then you kick those couple little goals and you do those little goal assists that help them win. And he's probably not really given that opportunity to do that, and probably a bit of lack of confidence from the team being shit.
Yeah.
So yeah, but look, I just wanted to say Brisbane are 7th now, so back in the 8.
Yeah. Is
You
this
know?
the first time they've been in the 8 all year?
Good question.
Could well be. Could
Possibly.
well
No,
be,
I can't
I
really
think it is,
check.
man, because they started the years like 0-3 or something. So I think it's the first time they've been in the 8.
Yep.
But yeah, I think they'll stay there.
No,
Fair enough.
that's fair. They probably will. And now it's just a question: can they sneak into the top 4 for them? To be
That's
honest with
critical.
you. In saying that, though, like they're not really putting away teams with that confidence that we'd expect. Like the last couple games for them, they've only just won, like against Melbourne and against Adelaide. Now, I don't know. So it's interesting to see how they go. So next week, who do they have? They have.
Do you want to just do tips?
Yeah, we'll
first,
do the
then?
tips, and they're going to smash you there versing. But anyway, so we'll move on to the tips. And the first game is another Collingwood Friday night game against Geelong at the MCG. Now that's interesting.
Yeah.
Geelong are listed as 173 favourites, Collingwood $2.11, which is fair considering ladder position. But-
Gamble responsibly.
Yeah. No, I don't care.
I tried to be funny, man. I'm trying to be funny.
Can we talk just really quickly, actually? Matza had a cheeky little fiver on multi at the North game.
Yeah, I did.
The one thing we're waiting for, you want to tell everyone, Matza?
Yeah, so it was something along the lines of like North to win, Colby 25 posies, which he smashed, Cherry 15 disposals,
Just a
Nick
couple.
Larkey 2 goals.
Couple like that.
So all of them were good. There was one left. There was only a 5-legger, right? 4 or 5-legger. Eddie Ford to kick a goal, and he hit the post.
Oh,
And then he was running into the open goal and decides to pass it off. And
I
missed.
know,
Missed
and it was
the
a
target.
bad kick too. So look, that didn't take anything away from the game. Like I didn't really care.
yes.
It was literally we're sitting on the chair, and on the banner it said, "What are you losing more?" or some one of those buzzword type don't gamble things. And I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna put a bet on. So that doesn't work. I think it's reverse. It's reverse psychology advertising.
Yeah.
So stop doing it.
What are you really losing?
What are you really?
It's just
yeah,
$5.
Yeah, exactly. It's $5. It's $5. But yeah.
Yeah, back to the game. All right.
Collingwood.
All right. Okay. I'm gonna go Geelong. Just so Dino can make the decision because I'm too scared to make a decision on this one.
I think Collingwood. I think it's too important of a game. They're out of the 8. If they lose this, then they'll make potentially like a clear game out of contending for the 8.
Interesting.
I think they'll win it.
I think they should win. But yeah, very even game.
It sure is. This next game not so even because North are gonna smash Sydney, baby.
Well, we're playing about the SCG, right? George just said that second game you don't want to lose, which they did. Now, is it A, wheels are off, or B, North's going to get a hiding? Or C, competitive loss for North?
Or is there going to be some interchange shenanigans once again?
Oh, God. Let's not forget that, right? We had them cooked last year. We should have won that game.
Yeah.
But they're a better team this year,
Yeah.
obviously.
Look, I'm going to be I'm happy to, just be mature about this one. We'll just go Sydney and, take the tension
To be
away.
consistent with my roast of George before, I'm going to go Swannies. Because I do believe they deserve the tip. They're the better team.
Yeah. But there was careful consideration.
But I would say, yes, but here's the opposite rebuttal. I would say North deserves some respect to say this isn't going to be a 60-plus point hiding by just cause North's the worst team.
That's fair.
So I'll say competitive 30, 35 point loss.
All right, that's fair. All right, so UTAS, Hawthorn versus Freo.
The UTAS.
Bit of a fortress.
Yeah, it is a bit of a fortress. Look, I'm not going against Freo, man. They're a good team. So, and I think I'm surprised that the odds are that close together. To be honest with you, I think Freo should get it easily. But then I'm not good at tips, so I don't know.
I'll go Freo.
Yeah, I'll just go Hawks for fun.
All right, there we go. And then next week, I told you they're good at UTAS. You're not that guy. You're not that guy, pal. Western Bulldogs versus Carlton now.
I think
At Marvel.
I think we'll win this.
Yeah, no, I agree.
I think we'll win this.
Yeah, I think you guys are the consistent good side, whereas Bulldogs, they're on track for a second loss.
If they play Bont up forward all game, then we'll just have our way with them.
You'll be just fine.
Look, if you want to do a caveat, I don't think this will be an easy game, by the way, but I expect us to win. And if they don't, I'll be extremely upset.
Yeah, there we go. Then we're going to get a wrath.
And then you're playing North the week after. It could be wheels off at the Swans.
And then that's the second week in a row that Carlton's versing, North is versing a out of form team.
Ooh,
easy fixture, man. Easy fixture.
That's it. Finals from here from us. So next game, Adelaide versus St Kilda. That is an interesting game, I guess. Like St Kilda coming off a very strong win, but it's at Adelaide Oval, so
I'm just gonna go Adelaide because Adelaide Oval.
I'm going to go Saints because Rankin's out and they suck without him.
No, that's a good point. I'm going Saints.
Yeah.
I guess I'm going to go Adelaide just so I can,
Picking Saints at Adelaide Oval is the most ridiculous tip ever. But you're right about the ranking. He is their guy.
He's the dude. Yeah,
he's an
excellent Matt's tipping is just. How do I not look like an idiot compared to these two guys?
Yep, exactly. Look, I don't know. I find it hard to. I find tipping hard.
This is the next one.
I'm not a tipping guy.
This is the next one, man.
Matt's going first on this one.
This
is the next one.
What's this? Melbourne versus Essendon.
Yeah, this is the one.
Essendon.
Yeah, I think Essendon as well.
Yeah, no, that's an easy one. Do I go first again? The next one.
Yeah.
Gold Coast versus Port at People's First.
Gold Coast don't lose at home, man.
Yeah, they don't. They haven't.
They don't.
They don't. So I'll tip them.
Don't.
If they're playing away.
But we're gonna consider the fact that Port are actually a very good side.
I will say though, Port deserves some respect.
Yeah,
but I'm gonna go Gold Coast.
You know what this is like an English teacher teaching you how to do a text response, and this is how you start the first sentence of your paragraph. What was the first sentence of your paragraph called? Did they have a name?
What did they teach you in English, George? You got to throw in the rebuttal paragraph to show that you understand the subject.
That's the third paragraph.
With your conclusion.
That is the third paragraph. Yeah.
You never gave us a rebuttal last week, bro.
Bro, you tried to get Dino there, but he rebutted you bad.
I'm not responsible for doing a rebuttal every week, man. I do rebuttal when I decide to.
Look, my rebuttal for Port. So I'm gonna go for Port actually. To be honest with you, I think they're gonna start hitting their straps. To be honest with you, Rozzy and Butters are gonna smack up Gold Coast because if anyone's gonna do well under the dewy conditions, it's those beautiful midfielders, baby. So so who did you guys? Did you guys both go?
I'll go
Suns.
Oh, there we go. All right. Richmond versus GWS. We're going to the Giants. We're not going to. not go talk about that one that much more. And then West Coast versus Brisbane at Optus. We're going Brizzy.
Yep.
That's it. That's it.
That is
That
it.
last day, you don't have to watch footy after 4:00. After the Gold Coast Port game finishes, that's the end of your day.
Yeah.
We can start the podcast at freaking.
Plan
I don't
your,
even think you have to watch.
plan
Oh,
your
no, you
fun
can, yeah.
family day, your friend's day on Sunday because you're not going to be watching footy.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's
Just quickly before we finish,
yeah.
I was going to say this during the North bit.
Yes.
Paul Roos, right? I was going to start the pod with this instead of my other story, but I thought I'm too much of in a good mood to talk about Paul Roos. But this dude here, right? We know his history with the Swans. Excellent coach, premiership, missed out on another flag, and really had built that Bloods culture that they live to today. Great coach. We know what he did at Melbourne. You know, sort of went in when they were down in the dumps, established the structure. Well done. Does anyone know what he did at North over the last 5 years, right?
Take money.
Took money to consult us while living overseas, right? Never stepped foot in the coach's box to help out. Never was around, apparently. And was part of the team that hired David Noble and was quite influential in saying this guy who's never coached before in the AFL level is the guy to help North stabilise, right? And you know what? At the time, we all sort of believed it, but obviously turned out horribly and set us back another couple of years. This guy, I don't know what his deal is this year. He's just bitter for some reason against the club for maybe sacking him because he was stealing a paycheck. But he's done nothing but talk shit about us. And first half of the year, sure, everyone was kicking us while we're down. Whatever, you take it. But now that we've shown good form, this guy's calling in from Hawaii, literally still not in the country, calling in, shitting on us in the form we're currently in, showing some promise.
Yeah, it's a weird time to do it.
Weird time to do it. All I got to say is don't ruin what people think about you. Like with Mick Moldhouse, started talking too much shit. Now everyone doesn't respect him for what he was.
Lee Matthews, the same thing.
Lee Matthews talking a bit too much shit. Everyone kind of forgets the glory you had. You're becoming one of those guys. Just if you got nothing positive to say about a good, promising team, don't say it. If you want to shit on them when they lose, go for it. But yeah, just get my team's name out of your mouth if you're going to say that kind of shit, man, because it's ridiculous.
Yeah, put a sock in it, buddy.
Put a sock in it.
That's,
just you're in Hawaii. Just relax. Why are you so upset? Calm down.
exactly right. See, that's the thing. We can't be happy. I think
No.
as humans, even if you're surrounded by paradise, you're still going to be just
You know what? North's looking promising. I'm just going to double down and say that Carlton's reserves in the 80s can beat us. What a stupid comment.
that is the honestly North's current team would probably beat the '80s Carlton team first team. And I'm gonna do this right. You know what this reminded me of? The Paul Roos thing. You know Charles Oakley, who used to play for the New York Knicks, right? Yeah. So for people who don't know, Charles Oakley used to play for the New York Knicks in the '80s, a team that had Patrick Ewing. They were a decent team,
90s,
right?
80s and 90s.
80s and 90s, all right? So, and he was the enforcer type guy, tough guy, but really not that good a basketballer. He just was a physical presence, big dude. He said that Giannis Antetokounmpo, who's a freak, right? One of the best basketballers of all time, right? He reckons that he would be a six-man back in the day. It's just the dumbest
ludicrous.
rhetoric. It's just look, the sport has come along so much more than what it was back in the day. The North players right now, they would run rings around those old farts who, were working at Macca's on the weekend or during the week and then, rocking up for their paycheck at the footy.
Yeah.
Let's just keep it. Let's be fair. That's just what it is.
I agree with you, but we'll never know for sure.
Of course,
my opinion,
of course.
it's an idiotic thing to even think about. Who thinks about that, let alone says it on the air?
Exactly. And
just an idiot.
Clarko said it well because he addressed it. He addressed the Paul Roos comment and said, "Oh, it'd be stupid to, for us to even try, try to compare errors." Well said, man. Well said. Yeah. Look, I think there's no way you can.
Maybe he meant Cullen's current seconds team. You never know. Jackson Binns, man. Jackson Binns.
He's that dude, man. He's that boy.
Man.
But yeah, look.
Just dumb comment.
Didn't expect to have to bring up Charles Oakley in a footy podcast, but there we go.
There you go.
Yeah, shout out to Charles Oakley.
Stupid. If you want to, I have no problem just quickly comparing the premiership teams of back then
Yeah,
with that team's era. But it's a fun conversation.
yeah.
But just idiotic to bring up North against Carlton's reserves. Why don't you say North's team back then versus North's current team? Even then, it's a stupid comment. Just an idiot. Anyway.
Yeah. Anyway,
I'm happy we won after all that to just shut him up, and everyone's sort of looking at him. Even non-North fans you kind of botched that one, brother.
yeah. Maybe a journo came up to him and was like, "Look, it's been a while since I've written one of those ROOS says stuff about ROOS." You know what I mean? He just wanted another pun at the start of, the article. So like, bro, say something bad about Kangas. Maybe it was one of those things. You know what I
He's
mean?
definitely bitter at us for some reason.
Yeah, I
I
agree.
don't know.
Yeah, probably.
Anyway,
Anyway.
just wanted to get that off my chest.
No, I like it. But yeah, big vibes otherwise, man, for North
it, man.
Melbourne, for footy,
Yeah,
for the enjoyers. I think we probably ended off there.
I think so.
Let's do it.
That's it. Thank you guys for watching. Bye-bye.
Surging forward, the Swans through Isaac Heaney. He puts a kick into the 50 and finds Logan McDonald. Shades of last week here. We had a shot after the siren against Freo. And he's going to line up. And he's shanked it again. He's bottled it again. What's going on, Logan? That's why Will Phillips was taken ahead of you. Wowee!